George Kittle might have one of the most valuable contracts in the NFL right now, but despite calls to change his playing style, he says he doesn't give two about it. He's the latest in the NFL to brush off concerns about so-called dangerous playstyles, but is it going to last him long? Today we'll be taking a look at that and some other news. So without further ado, let's dive in. First, why are people asking George Kittle to change his playstyle? As you might already know, the NFL has been under fire for the past decade due to the CTE issues faced by former NFL players with dangerous playstyles. Even though the NFL has taken some steps to combat the issue, certain players like George Kittle continue to use that exact dangerous playstyle. He has a highly hard-hitting style that completely roughs up his opponents, and likely himself. The style is not considered safe by anyone. In fact, Kittle has missed 11 of his 33 regular season games with the 49ers due to the near-consistent injuries. He is one of the most expensive contracts that the 49ers have given to any player. He's currently in year 2 of a 5-year, $75 million contract extension with the team. But now, with his injuries persisting, many people expect the 49ers to cancel or renegotiate that contract. After all, the 49ers can't just have a player that is constantly injured, and it would definitely be a violation of his agreement if he chooses to play with an extremely dangerous playstyle. So, what does George Kittle think of the concerns? Despite all the talk around supposed contract negotiations, it doesn't seem like George Kittle is too concerned about his playstyle. He recently interviewed with Mike Silver of the San Francisco Chronicle, and during that interview, he was asked about the concerns. But Kittle was quick to brush everything aside. He said that he could give two. He also added that if a day might come where he has to take a massive pay cut to keep playing the way he does, then he would take it. At this point, George Kittle has already made all the money in the world. He doesn't really need a massive paycheck week after week. The only reason he still plays for the NFL is that it's something he's passionate about. So despite the dangerous toll it's having on his body, Kittle will continue to be the hard-hitting tight end that we all know and love. But we might not see a lot of him for much longer if the injuries continue. Speaking of injuries, what are some of the injuries that Kittle has suffered from? George Kittle has a mind-boggling high risk of injury every single time he goes out on the field to play. So does every other NFL player for that matter, but Kittle is a very special case. He's suffered countless injuries throughout the 5-year-long NFL career. His first minor injury was when he was playing football in college when he sprained his foot and missed 2 college games. Then in August of 2017, while playing in the NFL, he pulled his hamstring and was out for a week. Just 2 months later, he missed a game due to a sprained ankle. In August of 2018, he separated his shoulder during training. In 2019, he sprained his knee. In 2020, he sprained his hamstring and his knee for a second time. That same year, he fractured the same foot that was once sprained while he was in college. In 2021, he suffered 2 injuries, a leg calf strain and a grade 1 knee strain. To make matters worse, according to Draft Sharks, Kittle has a 92% chance of injury in 2022 and a 13.8% chance of getting injured in any given game. So despite having a reputation as a hard hitter, Kittle might actually be quite a fragile player. But despite all that, Kittle is still very popular in the NFL. If there was one reason why the 49ers might not want to renegotiate Kittle's contract or let him go, it's because he's still an incredible player. Kittle is only 28 years old and he's already considered one of the best tight ends in NFL history. On top of that, despite his injuries, Kittle has proven time and time again that his injuries won't deter him from putting up a great performance. After all, when was the last time Kittle came back from injury and didn't dominate a game? None of his injuries have been too severe. Even the shoulder separation didn't do any structural damage to him. He's built like a literal human tank. None of the injuries have actually affected his game all too much. He's still better than ever. On top of that, he's a very popular player. In August of 2022, the NFL carried out a top 100 players of 2022 ranking, and in it, Kittle was ranked the 22nd best player in the whole league. He's led all NFL tight end by yards per route run and has racked up 3 1,000-plus receiving yard seasons. Because of this consistency, it's hard to see that the 49ers would want to lose a player like this. If they lowball him too much, there's no doubt that another team would pick him up immediately. Up next, can George Kittle reach 5.5 receiving touchdowns in 2022? Despite being a very consistent player, Kittle's injuries have caused him to miss a couple of games, and those missed games might actually lead him to miss his target of 5.5 receiving touchdowns in 2022. That's the limit the DraftKings Sportsbook has set for him, and normally this would be a very easy target for Kittle to reach. However, with 2023 approaching, it's getting harder and harder. According to Sports Illustrated, there's almost nothing standing in the way of Kittle getting at least 6 touchdown receivers. Even though he's never really reached that number before in his career, he's well on his way to doing so. However, the Sports Illustrated article also notes that Kittle has to be very careful about his health if he wants to prove that DraftKings' prediction wrong. Even one injury could set him off track, and a few missed games would definitely hamper his progress. Even if a potential injury doesn't do anything to affect his overall game, it would certainly be bad for his stats. 2022 might be the year where Kittle breaks all of his previous records, since his performance has been nothing short of amazing. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens next. Now let's take a look at some other related news. First, Jimmy Ward gone for longer than expected. The 49ers safety, Jimmy Ward, suffered a brutal hamstring injury on August 14, 2022, and it seems like it isn't going to get better anytime soon. Back then, the 49ers confirmed they would be missing some time, but they didn't really specify how much time he would be taking off. According to coach Kyle Shanahan, the injury was pretty bad, but as we've seen with George Kittle in the past, even a pretty bad hamstring injury is recoverable. Well, later in August, Jimmy Ward was placed on the injury reserve list of the NFL, and he's now expected to miss the entire first month of the NFL season. The general manager of the 49ers, John Lynch, said that this was a devastating loss for the Niners. After all, Jimmy Ward was an integral part of the team and the strategy. He not only played as a safety, but also as a cover. Lynch even noticed that in some games, Ward was the best cover on the team. Let's just hope the injury doesn't cause him to miss too much time. Up next, Nick Bosa, fully healthy and ready for contract extension. Nick Bosa has always been one of the best prospects in the NFL, but a torn ACL in 2020 caused him to be dismissed as a prospect by quite a few teams. But now in 2022, Nick Bosa is fully healthy, at least according to 49ers coach Kyle Shanahan, and he's also ready to sign an extremely lucrative contract extension. According to the rumor mill right now, the 24-year-old could become the highest paid defender in the NFL right now. But is that too much money for a player that once tore his ACL? Well, the 49ers don't seem to think so. And finally, who's getting cut this year from the 49ers roster? As excited as we all are for Nick Bosa's contract extension this year, we're equally as excited to see who will get the cut this year. Even though there are no confirmed names as of yet, according to rumors, Kyle Shanahan is willing to easily let go of a few players. The most prominent name on the list is Robert Nkemdiche, the defensive tackle who signed a contract with the 49ers in just July of 2022. Cornerback Darqueze Dennard is also reportedly getting the axe this year after playing a full season in 2021 for the 49ers. Other players on the list include fullback Josh Hokett, wide receiver Keyshawn Johnson, and defensive lineman Tomasi Lalil. These names aren't exactly shocking, but it would have been interesting to see what the 49ers could have done with them. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think George Kittle should change his play style? Let us know in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.